Good morning. So, if you know us, you know we're about the history of this area, and you know we're about the beauty and splendor that God has created. And right now, we are standing in a place that truly makes you feel one with God and makes you feel like heaven's really going to be a beautiful place. It's very untouched by man, one of the great wonders here in the national park. We want to welcome you to Cades Cove. We wanted to show you parts of the drive over and just give you a few tips and tricks that we know of going into Cades Cove before we actually get there. We do encourage you to listen to the sights and sounds as we go along. You're going to love it. Cades Cove is the most visited area in the national park. It gets a little over 2 million visitors a year. And of course, as we're approaching fall, it does get very crowded very early. So we always encourage you to go early. We left our home in Sevierville just after 7:30 in the morning because it is about an hour drive from there. So we head up the parkway in Sevierville and head towards traffic light number 3 in Pigeon Forge, which is Wares Valley Road. Turn on to Wares Valley, and then you're going to follow that all the way back. You're going to pass Foothills Parkway, the Wares Valley community itself, and then you come all the way to the end. And that intersection takes you onto Highway 321, which is Lamar Alexander Parkway over in Townsend. If you turn left there, you're going to follow that all the way through, follow it parallel to the river, and then you'll notice there's an intersection that we're going to come to where you can either turn left and head towards the Sugarlands Visitor Center over in Gatlinburg, or you can take that right and follow that on into Cades Cove. A couple of other things to keep in mind as we show you the drive over. There is actually a campground in Cades Cove, and there is also a picnic area. There is a general store before you get into the cove itself if you turn left just before you get onto the loop, and there are restrooms there. We would encourage you, especially if you have kids or elderly, always hit those restrooms up first because it isn't an 11-mile loop. There are shortcuts inside the loop, but the speed limit is 10 miles per hour. As we said, it can get very crowded. And we're also going to talk to you about the parking kiosks as well. Now, if you're out here in Cades Cove and you haven't purchased a parking pass yet, and you're going to be parking for more than 15 minutes inside, right here at the beginning of the loop, you do have parking tag kiosks available. Now these are credit cards only, but it will allow you to lift up, take the tag out, and then of course it's got to be displayed face up on the dashboard during your duration in the park. Now keep in mind the cost, it's $5 daily, $15 weekly, or $40 annually, and the annual tags can be purchased at any park visitor center.
Before you head into the one-way loop, it's always a good idea to stop here at the information center and grab a map, and you can also talk to the volunteers there who can give you more information. here, you're going to take a left to visit the Primitive Baptist Church, and we're going to tell you why that's special to us.
That's the street right here. Still seeing?
Yep.
Look at that. Can you see that through the sun?
How beautiful. Thank you, Lord, for a beautiful day and for your majestic creations and for all you've given us, Jesus.
Can you still see him?
I see him. He's beautiful.
All right, so we're here at one of our favorite spots. As a matter of fact, I think it's our favorite spot here in Cades Cove. We're here at the Primitive Baptist Church. Now, my love, why is this so special to us?
Well, this is where I said I did. I mean, I do.
Yes. Do you still say I do?
I still say I do.
Okay. This is where we were married, here at the Primitive Baptist
And
Church.
we prayed, hiding behind the corners. In fact, that's
I hid here, and you were all around this corner, and we held hands.
and prayed.
Yeah, we'll show
without
that.
seeing each other before we
before we went in to get hitched up.
Married. And our beautiful niece Julia, who is a bagpiper,
Yep.
came out from the woods with me in the processional.
Played the bagpipes.
Played the bagpipes.
Yes, it was absolutely
Played
gorgeous.
me down the aisle.
It was November 11th,
2017.
2017. It was about 40 degrees that morning.
It was cold.
Yes, it was. Yes,
It
because
was
in a Primitive
beautiful.
Baptist church, of course, there's no electricity. Or no
there's-
electricity anyway. So
Well, in 1827, when this was built, there was
that's right.
no electricity.
That's right.
All
Yes.
right, well, we'll go in and take a look.
Yeah.
Oh, the memories. Looks the same.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. Remember it like it was yesterday. We had it decorated so beautifully, which I will show some photos.
Yes.
Maybe one day we'll post our whole wedding. So almost 6 years ago,
We said I do right here.
this is where we began.
Love the old pews and the mourner's bench.
Warner's bench. I love that.
Yeah. So, at the altar.
Now, Christy and Brooks have given themselves to each other by their solemn vows, by their joining of hands and the giving of rings and the binding of the unity cords, by the authority invested in me by the state of Tennessee, and most importantly from God above, in that I now pronounce you man and wife. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder.
been my favorite church, the Methodist Church.
Yes.
We couldn't get married there because there wasn't enough parking. But I have memory of Mom playing in there and our friend Pansy playing in there, who are both now gone to be with the Lord. One time I hung out with a couple of does in the yard there for an hour and just communed with the Lord and nature. It's so peaceful here. God is everywhere, all the time. But I've always especially felt His presence in Cades Cove.
I've often said that this is what heaven looks like. We are in for something special.
Well, even if heaven is more beautiful than this, we are.
Well, I know it will be, but
what a beautiful God we serve to create this beauty that
something so
thankfully
wondrous.
is not untouched, but
Very lightly touched.
very lightly touched.
Haven't seen as many deer this morning as I thought we
I
might.
was excited to see the few we have seen, and that bear was incredible. He was pretty big. Maybe it was a female.
That was a yearling.
That was too big to be a yearling.
That might have been 200, 215. It wasn't that big.
Rich Mountain Road.
Rich Mountain Road and the Missionary Baptist Church.
This is a junction that is historical in our relationship.
Oh, this is where let's just say we took we had a fork in the road.
And we decided which way to go. So on our second date, which was the date that we determined we would want to continue dating, we took a drive to Cades Cove, and I stopped right here. I was driving, and I said, I have a proposal for you.
Yes.
And what did you say?
Well, I looked over at the Missionary Baptist Church to our left, and I said, honey, I appreciate that, but I don't think there's a minister available right now.
Needless to say, we took the drive down Rich Mountain Road and had a wonderful time.
Yes.
The absolute beauty and wonder of Cades Cove. Just take a listen.
Cades Cove actually holds a very special place for Christy and I. This is the place that we had the date that sealed our fate. You know, I'm just being funny when I say that, but now also this is the place where Christy and I showed you where we got married, so it is just a very special place for us. It's also a very special place for my family and just the history and the heritage of the area. I know we talk a lot about that, but we're going to show you something truly spectacular here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Mark and Sherry Guenther from Muddy Pond Sorghum Mill, they're actually here in Cades Cove doing a sorghum making demonstration. Me and my family, we used to go over to Richardson's Cove and we used to make molasses in very much a similar way to what they do to make sorghum. So we hope you'll stay tuned for it because it is truly, truly a special thing. So of course, you know, we're out here in Cades Cove and we're out here for something truly spectacular. Some people call it old-fashioned. I call it the right way to live. We're out here with Mark and Sherry Guenther today. Mark.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. They are from Muddy Pond Sorghum Mill. And Mark, tell us where you all are located.
We live on the Cumberland Plateau near Crossville, Tennessee.
Yes.
It's about 120 miles north of here. And so we have actually a pretty nice rig there. We travel do sorghum making demonstrations, and you can see the cane laying there in the ground. And
yes.
A lot of folks show up to see what we do.
Yes.
And so I've got my mule Maddie, Ida, going around. Maddie is still in the pen here.
Yes.
She's not had a turn yet. Got a friend from near Canton, North Carolina that's helping me a little bit this morning.
Yep.
I'll go over there and do some grinding in a little bit. But anyway, we love to travel, and we love for people to come to our farm at Muddy Pond. That's number one.
Yes.
But we can't get everybody to come there, so Sherry and I, my wife over here,
yep.
We travel and do these sorghum making demonstrations because it was a very important part of history, you know.
Yes, it is.
Especially here in the Smoky Mountain area. This would have been an original mill out there in the field, and then that was the original cooker right there.
So that would have been the press, and this would have been the cooker?
That would have been the cooker, yes.
Absolutely.
And that's what people used. And it was very much an important part here in the mountains because
yes.
Where we live here, good morning, where we live here, we're a little too far south to make lots of maple syrup.
Yep.
We're a little too far north to grow sugar cane and make sugar. So sorghum cane was a very important part of this region here, as that was folks that lived here. That was their sweetener, that and honey.
I love
it. I tell everybody, one thing back in the day, we did not have pavement and semi-trucks like we have today.
Yes.
And how was sugar brought to the stores when people lived here? Mules in a wagon.
Mules in a wagon.
And that was a heck of a journey, to go all the way to Louisiana or Florida to get sugar to be up here. And once it got in the stores, these were poor folks. They didn't have cash money.
That's right.
And even if the store had
eggs and everything.
I mean, they did do some bartering, but the stores, they didn't really have sugar, or the folks couldn't afford to buy this sugar, and so grow their own cane, make their own syrup.
Yeah.
Mama and Grandma cooked and sweetened everything with sorghum and honey. Of course, I got to put in this plug here. Everybody did call it molasses. Even though it is sorghum cane, everybody calls it molasses.
And there's a big difference, isn't there?
There is quite a difference in it, yeah. And we'll go into a little more detail about that a little later. But right now I'm going to go over here to my pan. I've got to get it cleaned up. My buddy there is getting pretty close to having a bucket of juice.
Yeah.
And we're going to strain it and pour it in that pan and start cooking.
And you actually feed out of some of the sorghum cane.
Yeah. So like the top of every cane stalk has a seed head on it. I cut most of them at home, but I purposely leave a few of them on. That way I have a little treat for the mules. They like it as a treat, and it's a good substance for them,
So that sweetness I'm smelling in the air, is that the sorghum?
A little bit, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it sure is, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
So that's what the cane looks there. My buddy there is carrying some down to the mill. And
getting ready to press some more, and then
going to keep pressing some more.
Now, when you cook this, I see you've got the skimmer here. And then, of course, when you cook this, this is all wood fired?
All wood fired, yes. I've got the chunks of wood there, and then you see the axe laying there. I'll be splitting it up and make it into smaller pieces and get a fire going, and
it's going to be great.
Stir off a batch of it here.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back to see a little more.
Okay. All right.
All right, Brooks, who are we here with today?
All right, so we're here with Mark's wife, Sherry Guenther, and I'm going to call Sherry the brains behind the operation.
There you go.
I know Sherry would like that. Yes, I know Sherry likes that.
You know, I'm the brains behind our operation.
She is the brains behind our operation, that's right. So tell us a little bit more about the great products that you guys have brought with you today.
Okay. Well, the Great Smoky Mountains Association, which runs the store here at the Cove, they buy our sorghum and our barbecue sauce at a wholesale price, and then they retail it and sell it. He works for the association.
Yes.
And so they sell it here at the table while we're here. And I talk to people like I am now and give taste of it all. The sorghum, of course, they have their own label, you know, that they want, and we put this label on it, Foods of the Smokies.
Yes.
They call it sorghum molasses. We don't like the molasses word, but...
That's right, because it's not molasses.
It's not molasses. Molasses is a cheap product.
I think maybe folks don't know what sorghum is.
That's
they
it.
don't.
Yeah.
And,
That's it.
And everybody's always called it molasses. But anyway, then the barbecue sauce, about 8-9 years ago, I had been making it for us at home, the barbecue sauce, and of course it's got sorghum in it, and decided that, you know, to sell more sorghum, you know, make this barbecue sauce, because if they don't like the taste of sorghum, some people don't.
Yep.
And I can sit here and give taste to both of them all day long, and you know, a lot of people will buy the barbecue sauce, they won't buy the sorghum.
Yes.
So anyway, it's helping us sell more sorghum, because the main ingredient in it is sorghum syrup.
That's awesome.
And so we go to a kitchen, make it ourselves. Each small batch we make ourselves, and it's actually my recipe. They named it here for the association. They call it Aunt Becky's, because Aunt Becky lived in the house here. Aunt
Becky Cable, yeah.
And we do the demonstration here, so they got a picture of her house on it and the cane mill.
I love that.
And that's the reason they named it
cool.
Aunt Becky's.
I love it.
And that's for here. And so they do sell it here at the table. It's $14 for the pint of the barbecue sauce, and the sorghum's $14 a pint and $18 for the quart.
Okay.
We also, you know, have it on our website. If you can't get up this way or something, it's muddypondsorghum.com.
Yep, we're going to have that on the screen here, and we'll also have the link down in the description, so you'll see that.
So if you can't get up here to the Cades Cove or somewhere around, all the visitor center carries it year-round, but if you can't get up here to the visitor center or up this way, you can order it on our website.
Very
awesome.
Nice. Thanks for telling us about it. Can we I'm going to say, can we taste it?
Let's taste this.
Okay, here's the sorghum.
Okay. That's good on a biscuit right here. Look at that. It tastes like molasses, but it has a richer flavor.
Yeah, I'll try it.
And it's good. All right, my love, you try it and you see what you think.
Okay, so I'm going to say before I do this is that as a kid, my dad loved sorghum.
Yes.
And in Indiana, they had festivals that would have the sorghum, the folks that would come, like your husband and yourself, and make the sorghum. I wasn't a fan of it, but I'm older now.
Yep.
So here goes. I guess as you get older,
You just like that, don't you?
the fine stuff tastes fine.
Yeah.
It is a much richer, like molasses flavor.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to try the barbecue sauce? We make every small batch ourselves.
Oh, every small batch is made right there.
And sorghum is the main ingredient.
Sorghum's the
60%.
main ingredient. 60%. Wow. So try that barbecue sauce,
This is
love.
barbecue sauce with 60%
Sorghum. Sorghum syrup. That's right.
Oh, good grief.
How is that?
Girl,
It's good, isn't it?
that is really good.
Okay.
You need to get
If
that
we-
into some restaurants around here.
If we can't get people with the sorghum, the barbecue sauce does
They
it.
are
Barbecue
both
sauce does it.
fantastic.
All right. Barbecue sauce, 60% sorghum syrup. You ready? You know what I want that on? Pork shoulder in the smoker.
Yeah, we're
That's
going
what
to
I
get a
want there.
jar of that, most
We'll
definitely,
have to
maybe
get a jar of
two.
that. That's right. We may have to get 2 jars of that. That's good stuff right there. You're going to love that.
If you are a restaurant in the Smokies and you don't
Everybody talks
make your
about
own
man's bacon.
sauce,
Everybody wants local stuff.
guys,
Right here. Look at this.
This is the stuff.
Yes. That is
I'm
the
not
stuff.
kidding.
Well, Sherry?
But to contact us if you wanted to, if somebody does want to get it, you know, you need to on the website, you know, and our phone number and everything's on there. Maybe
Yep.
he may put it on this blog
I will.
too.
We will put it on the channel here.
And it does have a different label. It's the Muddy Pond barbecue sauce and you know,
Yes.
Muddy Pond sorghum.
That's awesome. Well, Sherry, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, baby. So how long did it take to render that bucket?
About 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes.
And how much sorghum cane did you have to throw in there?
I put about 6 armloads in there.
Oh wow, very cool. And you just run it in through there and it presses it out and
Yep.
into the bucket.
If you want to come back around and you can watch and get a
Okay,
video of it.
I'll do that.
Just watch your head.
I'm ducking. So in it goes, and into the bucket it goes.
You wanna let me get in for just a second?
You want me to bring you some more?
Yeah, if you want to bring me a little more cane. Come on, Ida. So yeah, this is sorghum cane, a little bit different than sugar cane. And press the juice out of this. You see the juice running into that bucket there. Well, I'm here pressing sorghum cane. This would have been the kind of cane that was grown when people lived here in the park. And you see the juice running into that bucket. And we're going to take it over there to my little stove and going to strain it, pour it in there and strain it, and going to get a fire started and start cooking it. But this would have been a staple when people lived here. Most families would have grown a small patch of this cane and pressed the juice out of it, and that would have been their source of sweetener. And right over there, that's an original mill that was here in the cove. Come on, Ida. Here is my mule, Ida. I got to talk to her once in a while. And she just keeps going in circles and turning the rollers and pressing the juice out. And then the old stone furnace right over there, that's where it used to be cooked. My little stove there is a little bit more modern than what the old rock clay furnace was, but not really wanting to use, the park doesn't want me using that, you know, just to preserve history. So my bucket's about full. I'm going to have my mule stop, give her a little treat for her working. Come on, Ida. I tell everybody I'm putting a little fuel in my tractor. They love those seed heads and those leaves. And little reward for them. Come. Whoa, whoa! Say hello to everybody, Ida.
I took a selfie with her. I admit it.
My mule Ida. She's 3 years old, and the other mule is Maddie. She's 17 years old. She's over there looking like jealous, like, why can't I?
When's it my turn, Dad?
Yeah, it's my turn. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got an empty bucket here. I'm going to take over here. Ida has just finished going around in enough circles and have filled this bucket with juice. Do a little bit of cleaning on the mill as I'm over here. There's always a little bit of, I call it pumice. It's cane squeezings. Just pick at it and clean it out a little bit. So I got a heavy bucket of juice here, and I'll show you what the juice looks like. It's just green as.
So is that sweet by itself?
It's sweet by itself. Yeah, it's really sweet. Of course, it's very green tasting, but yeah, it's about 16% sweet. Very, very earthy. Back in the old days, they would have used burlap or window curtains or something another as a strainer. I've got this pretty nice little stainless steel wire mesh strainer here, and pretty important to strain it because as you'll see as it's pouring in there, there's bits and pieces of cane in there, and look how nice and clean that juice is going in there.
Yes.
So I do 3 of these 5-gallon buckets of juice per batch. Takes me about 2.5 hours to boil that down.
Okay.
And that 15 gallons of juice will reduce down and make about 6 quarts of syrup. So in other words, this 1 5-gallon bucket, 2 quarts of syrup.
Wow, that's amazing.
Got to do a lot of cooking.
Amount of work.
That's going to be a lot of reduction, isn't it?
Yep, a lot of reduction. Yep. And so then it just shake out the last little bit, and then I'll clean this up. So next step is split some wood and put it in this furnace and get a fire going and start heating this stuff up. So I'm going to try to make some small splinters here. I've been using an axe for a long time, so I trust myself splitting that wood like that.
Well, I'm glad you trust yourself, because I couldn't do that, Mark.
You couldn't. I grew up doing this. My mother actually showed me how to do that.
I did too, but
I'm holding it on the side. I'm not on top of it.
Yeah.
If the axe did miss it, and you can see how fast I moved my hand there, so I'm not gonna hit it. It could happen though. But I'll show you another way that's maybe a little safer. If you have a wood foot, some wood toes in your boot, is like that right there.
There you go.
Yeah. Is that not safer or not?
That is safer.
Yeah. At least it's away from my fingers.
Yeah.
And it's really not as bad as you would think, because I could come back here, but you see the marks I've made in the dirt. I'm going down into the dirt pretty hard, and so it's pretty safe like
creating
that.
some friction there. You're not going to hit that hard.
Right. So I got me a bunch of pieces here. I'm going to stack them in there. Some larger pieces on the sides, and then some of these small splinters right there in the middle. This is pine wood. I've had it cut for about a year, stacked in the barn. Of course, I put it in the trailer to bring it here.
Yes.
And so it's really dry. It doesn't take much to get a fire going. But yeah.
Is pine what you primarily burn?
Primarily. The reason that I use pine instead of a hardwood,
yes.
This does not, flavor is not, it doesn't have anything to do with adding flavor to this. And pine makes a really quick hot fire.
Yes.
And because it's very important, we got to cook a lot of water off of this juice, and it's important to boil it hard and fast so that it will boil down faster.
Okay.
I'm going to get my fire stuff. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I've got a little bit of diesel fuel in a little spray bottle there. I'll just spray me a little diesel fuel on there. And got my fire stick. I know back in the old days they did not have a nice thing like a fire stick or diesel fuel, but yeah, some of these modern things are pretty nice. So I've got a fire started there, and you can see here I've got a pretty good sized pile of wood here. It'll take about all that wood to do this one batch. Oh, wow. Yep, takes a lot of wood. But ends up making a wonderful food to eat. Absolutely. Sorghum syrup to me is an absolutely wonderful sweetener, an awesome flavor, very healthy. Yeah.
So how long does that take to reduce?
About 2.5 hours to reduce that down. And what I've got in there now to do a batch is 15 gallons of juice. It reduces down, makes about 6 quarts of sorghum syrup.
Okay.
Yeah, but now 6 quarts, it's very thick. It will help a lot of biscuits. It goes a long ways. It's it's really thick and rich and goes a long ways.
We tasted it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Barbecue sauce is bomb too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So a little while ago I poured the juice in here, and as that juice starts to boil, you see that green foam floating to the top.
Yes.
That is the green in the juice. It's actually
chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll, yes.
Yeah.
Doctor says chlorophyll is healthy for us. I don't know about that. I've not been sick enough to try it because it is pretty nasty looking.
Yes.
I will tell you that the mules love it. At the end of the day, I put it on their hay, and they will eat dirt with that on it. But it is pretty nasty looking. But anyway, one thing I do know for certain: if you don't skim it, this green will eventually boil and churn in and become part of the syrup, and makes it very strong and very bitter. What makes good sorghum is to get all that green boiled out of it. And you can see I built the fire a little bit ago, a little spot boiling there, but enough to get some of the green out of it. I'm going to be adding a lot more wood to it and really get this boiling. That whole pan will be foaming boiling.
Boy, that fire sure is hot.
Yeah, it is hot. It takes a hot fire to get it boiled down. Yeah, so right now I've got 5 gallons of juice in there, and I'm going to add 10 more gallons. I've got almost another bucket full over there at the mill, and I'm going to add 2 more buckets to that. It'll take me about 2.5 hours to cook down that 15 gallons of juice, and it'll reduce down and make about 6 quarts of sorghum syrup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now what you end up with after about 2.5 hours of this boiling down and being skimmed off is the good stuff, the sorghum itself, which is syrupy, of course, and it goes great with a biscuit, or you can turn it into cookies. You can do a lot of things with it, but now it's ready to be bottled up.
Cades Cove is a buzz with activity today. We've got the blacksmith over here.
Just left there, so I checked before we left.
Are you making a spoon?
I am making a spoon. Right now I'm just trying to clean up the shape of the ends here, and then once I have it the way I want it, I'm going to take it and I'm going to curl it in one of the kind of burnt out spots in the stump that my amble's sitting on.
Yes.
Here we have the flue that goes up to the grist mill. Here we have one of several cantilever barns here in Cades Cove that's been preserved so beautifully. And we've got a plow. And just another quick, beautiful view to the cable house and where they're doing the sorghum making. It is beautiful today. Absolutely beautiful. Here we have the cable grist mill where they actually do grind corn into cornmeal. They are closed today, but it sure is lovely. Here we have the cable house, otherwise known as Aunt Becky Cable's house. She was a single lady who never married, and she and her brother operated a store out of this home. In her later years, her brother became ill and passed away, and she raised her nieces and nephews here, and she was a very well-known person in the Cades Cove community. Here we have a peek inside of a smokehouse where you can see the hams and other meats being preserved and hung. This was how they preserved meats back in the day. This is the inside of the Becky Cable house. I imagine that this is a kitchen and dining area, possibly a bedroom here. There's a lot of history that you can read throughout the house. I'll leave that for you to read when you come and visit Cades Cove. In the back of the house, I'm assuming, was the kitchen, as you see the fireplace and wood-burning stove. And then off to the left side, you have a door out to a small porch area. And another door here to the left side into what I'm assuming was the parlor. This is Becky Cable's cantilever barn, and I believe this might be a well house, possibly just a shed, but we've got one of the old wagons here. Here we have the Cades Cove Visitor Center store. You can find just about anything in there, and we're going to show you what's inside in just a second. This is the Cades Cove Visitor Center store.
Thank you.
We've got quite the crowd in here right now. This is the Bear's Den. You got lots of bear themed items here, like puzzles, books, and the like. The National Park puts out patches for each of the trails and various destinations within the park, and you can make something that's got them all on it. There are a lot of very interesting books about Appalachia, life in the Smokies before it was a national park, and even about the city of Gatlinburg. I probably could read every one of these and not be bored.
We're here with Barry. And Barry, what would you like to say? Everybody needs to come to Cades Cove today.
And please don't feed the bears.
Please don't feed me.
We've definitely seen the wildlife today. There's some 4 turkeys. So this is where you will find your bathrooms here in the Cades Cove visitors area. This big old oak tree that sits in the middle of a field in Cades Cove has always been one of my very, very favorite things to see each time I visit.
All right, well, we've come to the end of our journey here in beautiful Cades Cove, over here in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, just outside of Townsend. I encourage you to get out if you're here. Enjoy the mountains. I hear people all the time say, what do I do when I come to the Smokies? Go to the Smokies. Fall is definitely kicking in out here, and Sewer County is decorated very nice, and you can see all of that. Pumpkins, corn stalks, a little bit of everything. But you know what? There is nothing like the beauty of God's splendor right out here in Cades Cove. So, in appreciation, because my family is planted here, our roots are as deep as the trees that adorn this beautiful 11-mile loop. Yes, and so in appreciation for that, we're going to give away on a future live stream this wonderful book called The Cades Cove Story. It was written by A. Randolph Shields. Shields was actually born in 1913 here in Cades Cove. So he tells the story very well. This is published by the Great Smoky Mountains Association. We'll have a link in the description for their organization as well. but it's all about preserving the heritage and the history of this area. We hope you enjoyed the sorghum demonstration. Mark and Sherry Guenther with Muddy Pond Sorghum Mill, we want to thank you guys as well. Check them out. The link for their place is down in the description also. But until the next time, we want to say, we hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it that big thumbs up. And of course, we want you to subscribe to Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun if you haven't already. And of course, leave us a comment down in the description that says, I want to learn more about Cades Cove. And that's going to help you to win this beautiful book, because we want to pass on the history of this area to you. The preservation is way too important to us. For now, she's Christy, I'm Brooks. God bless you all so much. We hope you've enjoyed, and we can't wait to see you next time.